All right, good. Good afternoon, everyone. And again, magandang hapon mga kapwa kawani. Welcome on today's activity. So to start, we have a house rule. Please share yung slides. Right? For our house rules, keep your microphones on mute and type your questions at the chat box at any time or tap the raise hand icon and wait to be acknowledged. And again, make sure to accomplish the pre-test and post-test and evaluation, the PTR, to claim your certificate. The pre-test and post-test will serve as your attendance sheet for this activity. And then for the pre-test, we have the link or the QR code, and we will be giving 5 minutes for you to answer, and then we will close the link and we will start the presentation of our speaker. Okay. I hope nakapag-sagot ng mga pre-test ang lahat ng naandito sa attendees natin today. And let's start this activity with a prayer.
Heavenly Father, we come to you today with humble hearts, seeking your guidance and wisdom as we begin this program. Lord, we ask that you would bless every person who has gathered here today, and that you would be present with us in a special way. We pray that this program would be a time of learning, growth, and fellowship for all of us. Help us to listen to one another with open hearts and open minds, and to support one another as we strive to serve you in all that we do. Please give us the strength and the courage to follow your will and to use the gifts and talents you have given us to make a positive difference in the world. We pray all of this in your holy name. Amen.
All right. So good afternoon again. Good afternoon, everyone. Magandang hapon mga kapwa kawani. The objective of this activity, crafting learning design, is one, to create effective and engaging learning experiences that help learners achieve specific learning objectives or outcomes. Also, learning design focuses on how to structure and deliver learning content in a way that promotes one, understanding by assessment, yung ginawa nating pre-test and later on the post-test. Also the retention and application of knowledge or skills, wherein the work application plan or the return demo will apply. So to present our resource speaker, she is the current department chair of the Department of Family and Community Medicine, at the same time the Chief of Petro. May we call on Dr. Maria Teresa Tricia G. Bautista. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Magandang hapon. Ano ba yan? Mga picture na yan? Okay. Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Thank you for spending time with us sa Petro. And I think the reason why you are here or why we are all here is because we are a teaching training hospital and we have the responsibility to create and provide meaningful learning experiences with or for our trainees or for our colleagues, for other people who actually affiliate with us. So today, let me just share. No? I will stop share na. Okay. Hanapin ko lang ha. So I know today is we'll have a mix of audience, no? And na-mention na this is our topic because we saw there is a need. One, as mentioned, we are a teaching training hospital. Next is sometimes we need to apply for CPD units to PRC, and we are asked to create an instructional design. For some of us, we engaged with the training residents, interns, clerks, and others, no? Interns, not only sa mga doktor. We need to have instructional design. Okay? So siguro just to warm up, all right, let's see the survey. No? Ano ba yung paboritong i-design daw ng mga tao? And let's, parang pang warm up lang naman to. Type nyo sa chat box, anong paborito nyong i-design? Okay, can be anything, no? So parang ano lang, medyo interactive naman tayo, and hopefully you will see it's somehow connected. All right, so meron na dito siguro to nakabili ng bahay. Si Ma'am, oh, bahay din. Ako, mayayaman. Kwarto, no? Could be a bedroom, can be your kitchen. So, ano pa ba ang mga in-invest nyo na gusto nyong i-design? Tingnan natin. At some point, I'm sure, nakapag-design na kayo eh. Okay? PC theme. Okay. Ano yun? Alright. Meron pa ba? Bahay pa rin. So, lumalabas talaga yung nag-invest ng sa bahay. Okay. And let's see what the survey says. Alright. So, sa karamihan, okay, clothes. Yan ang sabi ng Family Feud. Una ay damit. Okay. Siguro sa mga mahihilig, no? To wear really fancy clothes. Okay. Yan ang kanilang, yan ang kanilang dinidesign. Okay. A certain look. Next is, okay, home. Ayan, marami nagsabi niyan. Meron pa tayo mga events coordinator. Okay, so yung iba naman lecture slides. And the last is graphics. So ito siguro, that's where the lecture slides and maybe computer, whatever, no? Materials that you need, yan yung magpo-fall. So, okay. So what is design? So you have an idea because we asked you, what do you like to design? So design can be any. Planning, okay? It can be coming up with a sketch, coming up with a blueprint, all right? Coming up with some arrangement. Ito yung mga synonyms, no, ng design. Okay? And then, if we will ask, what really is the definition of design? I would like to focus more on the verb create. That's why the program objective today is to create an instructional design. Okay, create and also to plan and craft an experience or a tangible outcome. Okay, so ano yung tangible? Yung gusto mong makita. All right? Yung gusto mong intended na endpoint. All right. And so for today, our program title is Creating Instructional Design, and the objective is at the end of the session, sa dulo nitong session na to, the participant should be able to create an instructional design for a learning event or for any learning intervention. So, pwede itong lecture, pwede itong webinar, pwedeng, ano pa ba yung mga gusto nyong i-design na L&D, pwedeng postgraduate course, pwedeng conference, maybe a BLS training, all right? So, this is the program objective of today's activity. Okay, sa dulo nito, sana ay makapag-create tayo ng instructional design. Okay. So, but before we create an instructional design, there must be some needs analysis. So, we will do a little profiling. So, the first question, sino po sa inyo has attended a session on instructional design? O, type nyo lang, me. Ganun lang siguro. O kaya ayaw nyo, not me. Now, I just want to see, no, if some of you have already attended so that I can tailor, okay, the lecture for the audience. So, merong kami. Ilang kaya kayo dyan? So, me, not yet. Okay, that's fine, no? That's the reason why siguro at some point, very basic yung pag-uusapan natin. Because kung masyadong malalim agad, di mo alam yung baseline knowledge ng ating audience, baka hindi kanya maintindihan, right? That's why we need to come up with some profiling. Not yet. So, thank you because today you've shown interest. I don't know why. No? I don't know why. But for some reason, baka either napilitan ka or you saw a reason why you need to attend. You saw a need and you felt that it's time. I don't know. Okay, so it's important for you to also figure out Bakit nga ba ako nandito? Okay? So, who has attempted to make an instructional design? Okay, meron na bang nakagawa sa inyo? Kasi iba rin yung nakakinig pero hindi pa nakagawa. So, ganun ulit, no? So, let's type na nakagawa na. Sorry. Yan. Who has made? Yes. Okay. Baka si Doktora Madraso ba to? Okay, Doktora Leslie ba to? Anyway, meron na ba? Okay. So, it's also important kasi they can share their experience. All right? And making instructional design is an iterative process. Ibig sabihin na iterative, paulit-ulit. Kahit nakagawa ka na, there you will always find areas for improvement. Sa mga nagtuturo, no, every semester or sometimes after mo mabigay yung lecture, uulitin mo na naman, babalikan mo yung instructional design mo. It's really repetitive because you will always analyze what went well and what did not go well. Okay. So, my next question, marami na palang nakagawa. So, meron na kayong paghuhugutan today ng experience. So, I just want to know, based on your experience, what makes you learn more? Ano yung dapat meron or what factors would make you learn more? Or how can learning be more fun and productive for you? Or high yield for you? Gusto ko lang malaman yun. Ano ba yun? Ano yung mga bagay na mas matututo ka? Ito ba ay pag may HO? So kung na-experience, ang ibig sabihin ba nito, kung may, ayan, may goal. If there is a goal that is set. Okay, katulad ngayon, ang goal natin. Sa dulo ng session, dapat marunong na akong gumawa. Okay, pero ano pa? What would make you learn more? Okay? Kung naa-apply. Okay, maganda yun, no? Kasi, bakit ko naman aaralin niya kung di ko naman maa-apply? Tama naman si Rory dito. No? Meron pa ba? Ano yung what would make it fun for you? And, okay, so, kung feeling mo, may mapapala ka dito that will make you competent. Okay. So, thank you for all your answers, no? And, it's important to answer these questions because there are 6 or there are plenty adult learning principles. So tayo, nagtuturo tayo sa mga adult na. We need to understand, ano ba ang mga adult learners? The adult learners are internally motivated. Dapat ano sila merong drive. Di ba ang hirap po magturo kung parang walang latoy sila. Hindi nila nakikita yung relevance. Hindi sila mamamotivate. So they bring life experiences and knowledge to learning experiences. So ito na yung sinasabi ni Tora Leslie ba? Hands-on experience, no? Kesa purely theoretical. Kailangan na-apply nila. Okay? So yan di ba si Dr. Ann ba yun? So adult na talaga ito kasi goal-oriented din sila. Tama? At nakikita nila magagamit ko to. They're relevant. They're practical. So, and adults, of course, they want to be respected in the course of the learning process. So, we have to put this in mind because hindi ganito ang mga bata. Adults, yan yung kanilang mga mindset and disposition when they are learning. Okay, ito pa yung other descriptions. I hope these are descriptions that will also apply to all of us. So, they only learn when they are ready to learn. Ayan, tinipe na yan ni Jesus. Okay, Sir Jesus. So, sabi niya, interest. Pag may interest, mas maraming natututunan. So, we need to build interest. Kailangan maano sila, ma-excite sila. No? Sana ngayon excited kayo. Or at least you're ready to learn. What are you ready about? Ready to learn when the need arises. Okay? So, baka may pangangailangan, kaya ready siya. And need to know why they should learn something. So, bakit nga ba natin kailangang aralin to? Una nga kasi nagbibigay tayo ng mga learning and development interventions because we train people, because we have co-staff that learn from us. Kaya maaaring nandito tayo because we want to come up with a design, an instructional design to make learning more meaningful for others. So we want to know also the benefits of what we're going to learn. O, para saan to? Ayun, sinabi ko na nga, no? Ano yung benefits na yan. Okay? And then, we expect that after attending, magagamit natin to. So it's going to be useful. That was mentioned a while ago, practical. All right? And the adults also decide what is important for them to learn. So sometimes you have a 2-hour session. Hindi naman lahat yun tingin niya importante. But he or she will decide, ito importante siya dyan sa part na yan. Kinig na kinig siya. Gising siya dyan. Doon sa mga part na tingin niya, alam na niya yan, hindi niya yan masyadong interest. Tulog yan doon sa portion na yan. Okay? Kaya nakikita natin yun in reality. That bakit sa portion na to tulog sila. So sometimes it's not about the speaker, it's also about the interest on a certain topic. So sabi rin kanina, hands-on. They learn best when they actually perform. Okay, so workshop style, mas gusto natin yon. And so they are problem-oriented. Okay? So, thank you for all the inputs in the chat box. So, ito pa yung other descriptions. So, they are task-oriented. They want to focus on real-life problems. Actually, ang real-life problems, kaya talaga namin din to kinonduct, is because we saw that in the instructional designs that are requested in the learning and development proposal forms were not properly constructed. So, naisip namin, baka dapat ituro natin para tumama na, appropriately and constructively aligned yung ating design. Okay? So, when we say constructively aligned, no? Ibig sabihin natin terno-terno, parang sa damit, kanina sabi. O kaya bahay, di ba? Kunyari gusto mo minimalist ka. Di ba? Yan yung mga effects ngayon. So, bawat gamit, pang minimalist ba siya? Parang ganun ba? So, you have already an idea of how you envision your house, right? So, yun, ganun yung gusto ko mangyari. Sana ganyan. So, when you already have that endpoint, that vision, yan yung outcome na gusto ko, tinitingnan mo if every component would match that particular outcome. So pag 'di ba pumunta ka sa furniture shop, sasabihin hindi naman may minimalist ang dating niyan eh. So pupunta ka dun sa area na ito pang mga minimalist. So that's why it's important to have that endpoint in mind when we make an instructional design. Now adults also would want to work collaboratively. Mas maganda yung team effort. So when we create activities, mas gusto natin yung may ka-partner ka, o mas gusto natin group work siya. Kasi yan ang usual nature ng mga adults. And mas tumatrabaho tayo when we're pressed for time. Okay? And of course, when there's a variety of teaching methods. Okay, so today, sana you just have that urge to learn something new. Na? Sana you have that motivation na sana at least after this session, may bagong matutunan. Just I'm showing you the form or format of the Professional Regulations Commission. Pag nag-a-apply tayo for CPD units, okay, we are required to submit an instructional design. And below, you will see that there is a table with several columns. And this will be my guide when I give this lecture. So we will try to define each of the items. So first, we will discuss program objectives. Okay? So we already mentioned this, no? What is the program objective of today's activity? Ano nga yun? Kung naalala nyo. What is the program objective of today's activity? Nasa dulo ng session na to, what do we want to achieve? Exercise na po ito, no? So what do we want to achieve at the end of this session? Kung na-recall nyo po. What is our program objective? Correct. Okay, naalala ko to si ma'am. So, ang dinidesign niya ay bahay. Okay, but today, we will create an instructional design. Okay, at the end of the session, no? At the end of the session, you will be equipped, no? You will be ready to create an instructional design on your own. All right? So, next. Okay. When we create an instructional design, okay, there are certain topics, di ba, that we want to discuss before you create an instructional design. So we need to enumerate those topics, okay, and then come up with learning outcomes. So let's try it. Okay, in yellow, yung naka-font na yellow, okay, yan yung topics, no? So, paano tayo makaka-create ng instructional design sa dulo? First, we need to understand, siguro pag-usapan, yung instructional design principles. So, topics muna. Enumerate muna natin yung topics. So, ano yung mga principles ng instructional design? Meron bang mga modelo ng instructional design? Okay. Tapos narinig ko, may tinatawag na Bloom's taxonomy. Okay. So, pag-uusapan natin yan mamaya. Ano pa ba yung components ng instructional design? Kasama ang tools and strategies at saka assessment and evaluation methods. So pag na-enumerate mo na yung topics, okay, na-enumerate na yung topics, aalamin na natin anong gusto kong outcome per topic. So ang gusto kong outcome per topic ay dapat ma-define natin later, no? What are the instructional design principles and how can I apply this to learning events? And if we're going to talk about instructional design models, how will we apply the models to develop engaging learning experiences? Then we talked about learning outcomes, no? And we will introduce Bloom's taxonomy. No, yan yung mga bagong salita ngayon. Pero huwag kayong mag-alala, we will discuss this later. So, paano gumawa ng learning outcomes? Okay, using Bloom's taxonomy. At ano-ano, let's identify what are the tools and strategies for learning. Okay? At pag-usapan din natin, discuss what are the evaluation methods. Okay? So, I'm using this particular activity as an example for learning outcomes. So again, no, we enumerated topics that are related to the program objective. Ang program objective natin, at the end of the session, we will create an instructional design. Pero sabi mo, hindi ko naman alam ano instructional design. So kaya i-define natin yon. We will show you some models. We will try to formulate learning outcomes. We will identify tools and strategies for learning. And paano natin malalaman kung naging effective? So that's why kailangan merong evaluation method. Okay. Okay pa ba kayo? Okay. So the first, di ba sabi natin, we will define what is an instructional design. So part of my content will be, what is it? So it involves analyzing the needs of the learners. Okay, so kanina inanalyze natin, no? Marami sa atin hindi pa naka-attend. Okay? At hindi lahat nakagawa na ng instructional design. So importante that we define it. All right? So it analyzes the needs, it designs instructional materials, and it evaluates the effectiveness of the learning experience. Okay? Now, we mentioned already, it is intended to be a repetitive process or iterative process of planning outcomes. Okay? Paano ba siya maging ganito? So, kunyari, naisip natin, itong colleague ko or co-staff ko, gusto ko matutunan niya itong paggawa ng dokumentong ito. That is, let's say, the goal. Okay? So, paano natin yon ituturo sa kanya? May systematic way of teaching it. Okay? Kung talon tayo ng talon, dun sa steps or yung mga tinuturo natin hindi aligned, then we will not be successful achieving the outcome that we intended. So we select effective strategies, all right? And we choose relevant tools and technologies, okay? And in the end, dapat may sukatan, may measuring of the performance. Nagagawa ba niya yung gusto nating paggawang dokumento? So yun yung tinatawag nating evaluation. Okay. Why is instructional design important? Importante to lalo kay PRC mabusisi sila dito sa instructional design, no? Even in training programs, they're very meticuloso sila, no, sa instructional design, lalo na sa mga colleges, no, sa schools. All right. So, why is it important? It is important because it ensures that the learning experience is aligned, no? Tugma-tugma siya with the objectives of the learning activity. Okay. So, kunyari, ang gusto natin, ano ba ang gusto natin? Ang madalas na kinokonduct natin, WCPU, right? No? And what is really the experience that they want? They want the participant to be what? More sensitive and more responsive to addressing gender-specific and gender-sensitive matters. And so they let you experience, no, how it is. Kaya alam ko may mga role-playing doon. So, you want to see whether na-achieve ba yung goal na yon. Alright? So, the importance is really to organize and to structure the content in a logical and meaningful way. Okay? So, skip na natin yung iba dyan. Yan, I think, yung hinighlight ko, ang pinaka-importante. We want to make sure that what we intended will happen. Yung plinano natin, mangyayari. And so, the learning experience will actually take place. Kasi di ba minsan pina-attend mo, pero parang, ba't hindi nila parang nagets? Baka there was something wrong in the instructional design. Baka it is in one of the components. Okay? So, what is a good instructional design? It somehow provides a roadmap. So tayo, di ba, we like looking at Waze or Google Maps. It's like a roadmap. Parang PGS din, no? How do we get there? Merong mga hakbang to get there. We don't just get there by going, na walang direksyon. Okay? Kasi kung hindi, it's a long cut. Okay? Or a long way to go. So you create that roadmap. So it is engineered or designed, okay, correctly. At marating nga natin yung gusto nating marating. So it hopefully will maximize the engagement with the learner, okay? At yung mga diniscuss natin or yung mga in-involve nating content are also appropriate and relevant dun sa ultimate destination. Okay? Parang isipin mo, bakit niya diniscuss yun? Hindi naman siya related. Di ba minsan ganun yung mga na-attenda natin. Bakit may ganung topic? Hindi naman yun yung objective nung session na yon. And of course, we look at evidence-based methodologies for the students. And at the end, always merong paraan, no, to measure the results. Na-achieve ba talaga? Okay? Oops, sorry, meron yatang nagsulat na sa may nag-annotate. Patulong na lang sa Petro. Okay. Now, we said we defined, instructional design. Now, we will mention some models. Okay? So, the models, hindi ko na to masyadong explore kasi it's really for educators. But suffice to know, importante lang siguro na malaman na merong mga pinaghugutan yung paggawa ng instructional design. The most famous is ADDIE, ADDIE. So first, we analyze, di ba sabi natin kanina, analyze your audience or your participants. Okay? So pag ito pala ang profile nila, then you can now design something. Okay? So kunyari, tingin mo very basic ang kailangan, then you will design a basic course. Something like that. Then, okay, dinesign natin. Then, you now develop materials for it. Okay? Kaya development. Then after developing the materials, you will now roll it out. That is the implementation. And then after you have rolled it out, no, there is evaluation. Na-achieve ba yung objective? Okay? Kasi yun yung nakuha mo sa design, yun yung ginawa mo sa design. Nag-perform ba ng maayos yung mga participants? Okay? Na-engage ba sila? Yan yung evaluation. Alright? Because of course, you want your participants to engage well. Okay? And then, paulit-ulit lang yon. No? That's why you see there's a lot of revisions. Dun sa siguro engaged or practicing training programs, sa mga training programs, no? Halos every year, we keep on reviewing our instructional design. We need to always improve on it. Pag nakita natin there are methodologies that don't seem to be effective, no? We somehow polish, maybe sometimes even change the strategies. Okay. So yung isa naman, backward design. I have somehow mentioned this. Yung backward, ang ibig sabihin lang nun, you have already the end in mind. Yung alam mo na talaga, you're dreaming of that. Okay? Then you have a clear goal. So, then, kung yun ang goal, paano tayo makakarating doon? Yun yung pinaplano natin. So, first, we identify what are the desired results, okay, for a training or for a learning activity. And then, we determine kung ano yung task na paggagawa natin para ma-achieve niya yung desired result. Tapos ipaplano niya yung mga learning experiences and instruction. I think this is very helpful, no, for some of the staff, no, that we coach and we mentor. If meron tayong staff that you think needs to learn additional skills or additional competencies, no? Kailangan ganito siya eh. Kulang siya ng ganito eh. Okay? It's time to formulate an instructional design for that person. So, kailangan baka to personalized. Okay? So, gusto ko itong colleague na to would know how to use, example na lang, no? Would know how to make a Google form, example. Ganun na lang, no? O ano ngayon yung paggagawa natin sa kanya? O siguro papapanood ko siya ng, o ano yon? Siguro mga YouTube tutorial, ikaw na magpo-provide nun, no? And then, meron siyang exercise. Bibigyan mo siya ng content for a Google form. Tapos pasasubmit mo sa kanya. Hindi yung, basta gumawa ka na lang. Tapos hindi siya nakagawa eh. Okay? So, dapat meron tayong plano how that particular staff will be able to deliver yung ating intended task. Okay? So now another model that we want to introduce is the Bloom's taxonomy. So it's a triangle. You will always find this, no? A triangle. Now, as you can see dito, meron tinatawag na lower order thinking skills. Pataas, higher. Siyempre, pataas, higher na siya, no? So, ano yung lower order thinking skills? Ito yung recalling, okay? Remembering, okay? So, facts. Remembering facts. Yung sunod, okay, nare-remember niya. At saka naiintindihan niya. Magkaiba kasi yun, natandaan niya, pero hindi naman niya naintindihan, di ba? Kaya higher order thinking skill, yung naiintindihan niya. Alright? So, paano mo masabing naintindihan niya? Na-explain niya, na-discuss niya. Okay. So, ang mas mataas pa doon is how to apply it. Okay? Oo, kasi nung sinabi kong magbigay siya ng example, nakapagbigay siya ng example. So, ibig sabihin nun, natandaan na niya, naintindihan pa niya, at nai-apply pa niya, nagamit niya yung kaalaman niya para magbigay sa akin ng example. And higher than this one is what you call higher order thinking skills. So, saan nagkakaroon ng cut-off? Kapag analyzing na, evaluating, and creating, these are higher order thinking skills. Anong relevance nito? Okay. Ang relevance nito ay for supervisory roles. No? They must be at least on the level of higher order thinking skills. Okay, ang understanding is, alam na nila yung remembering, yung understanding, and applying. Okay, so, of course, yung non-supervisory, at the very least, that's what we develop. No? The remembering, understanding, and applying. But it also, of course, depends on the context. Okay? But ito yung parang ladder. Ito yung ladder of learning, no? And ang sabi nga dito sa Bloom's, okay, learning is built on prior knowledge. So dapat may kaalaman siya muna. May facts muna, may pundasyon. Kaya mas malaki yan sa triangle. May pundasyon ng mga kaalaman. Pero paano palalalimin yon? Dapat mas naiintindihan niya yon. So there is understanding. Alright? Paano pa mas magiging competent, mas magiging magaling yung colleague na yon? Dapat na-apply niya yon. Sabi niyo kanina, di ba? Ang adult learner, gusto niya na-apply niya sa buhay yung nalaman niya. May kilala tayo, di ba? Yung maraming alam, pero hindi na-apply. May mga alam din tayong ganon. Or, nare-recall niya, pero pag pina-explain mo, hindi niya ma-explain. Ibig sabihin, hindi pa niya naiintindihan. Okay. So, I hope I was able to expound on the Bloom's taxonomy. Okay. Another model is the flipped classroom. Hindi ko na rin yan masyadong examplein. Pero, the traditional classroom, di ba, pasok ka sa klase, makinig ka ng lecture, after mo mag-lecture, merong homework kang gagawin. It's flipped. This time, nasa bahay ka, pakinggan mo yung lecture, pagdating mo ng classroom, may pag-uusapan na dapat nakinig ka ng lecture. Alright? So, ibang style naman siya. Correct? Okay. So now, what are the characteristics of all of these models? Ano ba yung general characteristics ng lahat ng models na sinabi natin? Yung ADDIE, ADDIE, okay, backward design, Bloom's, okay, flip. It is all centered on the learner. It is learner-centered. Hindi siya nakasentro dun sa magtuturo. Hindi pwede kasi, eto gusto ko ituro eh. Hindi. Lagi siyang tatanungin natin, ano ba ang gusto nyong malaman today? So sana ganun yung gusto nating malaman today. Paano ba talaga gumawa ng instructional design? So it is goal-oriented. Ang goal natin, makagawa ng instructional design. Okay? Ako lalagyan ko pa nga yun ng adjective eh. That is constructively aligned. Okay? It focuses on real-world performance. Ayaw natin ng puro theoretical, hindi philosophical. Gusto natin maa-apply ito. And there are outcomes that we want to achieve and should be measured in a reliable and valid way. Okay, so yung empirical, ibig sabihin nito, yung instructional design could be based on observations, all right, and experiences. And usually, typically a team effort. All right. So what are the key components of an effective ID or instructional design? We already mentioned kanina, clear program objectives. Okay, what do we want our learner or participant to be able to do after completing the said program or training? Okay, and I'm sure you know this already. It should be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound or SMART. Okay, in short. Okay, so yan ang objective natin. So I will give you examples. Let's say your conference is entitled, it's just an example, no? Hindi ko ginawang medical kasi I know meron tayong mga non-medical din ngayon. So let's say the conference about empowering communities through hospital partnerships in public health. So ano yung program objective ko? So, di ba? Tandaan natin, ang program objective is about anong gusto mo at the end. At the end of this conference. At the end of this conference, I want to facilitate collaboration. Ng ano? Ng mga hospital staff at mga community stakeholders. Kasi nagkita-kita sila eh. Alright? Sana at the end, medyo mapabilis ang collaboration. Ano pa? Gusto ko sa dulo magkaroon ng plataforma kung saan makapag-share sila ng kanilang mga best practices, mga researches, na nakaka-empower ng communities. Sa dulo ng conference, gusto ko ma-inspire yung mga participants to take concrete steps to address public health challenges. Okay, so meron no, may vision, na-envision mo na at the end of this conference. So tugma siya no, dun sa title no. And sana it will also promote networking and partnerships. All right? So, after a clearly defined program objective, okay, alala niyo yun yung end point, pinaka-end point. How will we craft the learning outcomes? So, ito na yung mga little outcomes that we want para ma-achieve yung big program objective. So, these are statements that will capture specific knowledge, skills, and abilities or attitude. Sorry, this is attitude that we intend learners to attain. So when somebody says, ano bang competencies mo? Okay? Ano po ba ang competencies? We're talking about, okay, ang competencies are KSA. Magaling siya mag-isip, knowledge. No? Magaling siya mag-explain. Yan. Magaling siyang gumawa nito. Magaling siyang mag-perform nito. That's a skill. Alright? Okay? Ano naman yung attitude? Maayos siya. Maayos siyang salamuha. That's an attitude, no? Able to get the cooperation of everyone. Very respectful siya. That is attitude. Those are still competencies, but in different categories. So knowledge, skills, abilities. So again, what are competencies? Ano ang kagalingan mo? Okay, pag tinanong yun, ano ang competencies mo? Ang iisipin natin, KSA. Okay? Isipin natin, KSA. Competencies yan. Knowledge, skills, abilities. Okay, so gagawa tayo ng mga learning outcomes for knowledge, skills, and abilities. Okay? So it provides measurable and focused targets for learning. Okay, so ito na yung mga example, no? Magbigyan tayo ng example. I mentioned, no, 3, KSA. So yung K is cognitive and there is a separate triangle Bloom's taxonomy for that. When we talk about skills or psychomotor, there is also a separate triangle or taxonomy for that one. The same way with affective. But for this session, we will first focus on cognitive. Okay, okay ba yon? Kaalaman, knowledge. Okay, so minention na natin yan kanina, no? From lower order thinking skills to higher order thinking skills. Okay, so alala nyo, kunyari, first years, di ba? May mga first year residents tayo. Ang expectation natin sa kanila ay still in the lower order thinking skills. Dapat maalala nila to, maintindihan nilang konseptong ito, at mai-apply nila ito. Pag pa-senior, nag-graduate na, complex cases na ang binibigay natin sa kanila. Yung medyo mapapa-challenge talaga sila. Kasi, bakit ganun? Bakit sila nilalagay natin sa ER? Kasi mas mabilis na silang mag-analyze ng mga kaalaman nila. Kaya na nilang mag-decide. Kaya na nilang mag-evaluate. And all the more they can create maybe out-of-the-box management. Mas sila? Mas competent na sila. Okay. So, ganun din no, sa non-medical. Bagong empleyado, okay? Siyempre, ito lang muna ang ina-expect natin or bagong graduate siya. So, may mga information siyang alam, pero sana palalalimin natin yon hanggang sa no, tumataas ang kaalaman niya. We do not want them to stagnate. No, ayaw natin silang parang naiiwanan na lang. Hindi na talaga yan, kahit anong apply. Hindi nga niya ma-apply yun eh. Tutulungan natin sila na mai-apply nila no, ang mga meron silang competencies. Okay? Para umangat yon. Kasi hindi po sila aangat kung hindi natin sila aalalayan dun sa higher order thinking skills. Okay. Now, beside, as you can see in this slide, merong mga verbs. Okay? Sa remembering, the verbs that we usually use is describe, relate. Okay? So, to describe, to relate, to find. So, yan yung example ng remembering. If we want them to understand, no, then they should be able to discuss, to explain, to predict. Okay. We want them to apply, maybe they should be able to use, to illustrate, to solve. If we want them to analyze, then they should be able to identify, no? Di ba ganun yun? Parang when there's a crossword puzzle, ano kaya tong word na to? Nag-a-analyze siya, kaya nag-a-identify siya, ganun ang crossword eh. Okay? So, ang explain, pwede pa rin sa analyzing, depende sa konteksto eh. So, explain mo nga sa akin kung bakit nagkaganon yung problema. Nag-analyze siya. Alright? So, evaluate. Ito na, medyo lumalalim na, no? Higher order thinking skills. The person was presented with different pros and cons and now will decide and balance things, no? So, magpa-prioritize siya, i-justify niya, i-decide niya. That is evaluate. Pag talagang kailangan na niyang mag-come up ng something new that he will say it came from him, then that is creating. He will imagine, he will design, and he will plan. Alright, so I hope, no, tandaan natin ito kasi ito yung magiging guide natin para mas maging competent, mas maging magaling yung ating mga colleagues and staff. Okay. So, example tayo, no, on how to formulate learning outcomes. So, example, we decide that this is a lecture. There's a lecture we want to deliver. And the topic of the lecture is challenges of the Philippine healthcare system. So, ano yung mga topic na gusto nating pag-usapan dito? Okay? Siguro to, healthcare system. Ano pa? Sino ang mga tao dun sa healthcare system, the health professions? Ano mga institusyon, no? Dun sa healthcare system. Tapos, alamin natin ano yung mga challenges na yon. So, ang learning outcome na naisip natin, no, is to recognize the characteristics, then to explain the key challenges, and to illustrate how these challenges can be addressed. So, can we make a little bit of an example? Anong level sa Bloom's taxonomy ang number 1? Okay, ano ang sa tingin nyo? Sige, hindi ko naman sasabihin kung tama o mali kasi sa dulo natin sasabihin. Try lang. Is it remembering? Is it understanding? Is it applying? Is it analyzing? Okay? Naalala nyo yung sa Bloom's taxonomy? Yung recognize, ano yon? Ito ba ay remember? Tingin nyo. Just try. Try lang kayo. Okay? Just try. Hindi naman po ito di kayo paparusahan kung nagkamali. So, what is recognizing? Is it remembering? Is it understanding? What do you think? Is it analyzing? So, it's just the unique characteristics, unique characteristics of Philippine healthcare system. Okay. Actually, may point din si Ma'am Clary, no? Pwede siyang analyze, no? Okay, pwede. Pero pwede rin kung alam niya yung Philippine healthcare system, okay, at intinding-intindi niya yung healthcare system, it can be understanding. Galing, Dr. Leslie, understanding. Okay. Explain the key challenges. Okay. So, wag na natin pahabain ito. Actually, ito ang magiging level nito sa Bloom's taxonomy, no? So, number 1 is understand. Number 2, yung explain the key challenges. Actually, it can still be understand. It can also be analyzing, no? It depends on the context, right? And then the last, because it's illustrate na, okay, so, ina-apply na niya yung konteksto nun. All right, so I hope you're starting to get it. We'll show you a little bit more examples. So this time, in your conference, you want a panel discussion. Okay. Now, the panel discussion topic is community-based programs. How do we make them work? Okay, so yun ang topic. May panel ka. Pag-uusapan nila community programs at paano pinatatakbo yun. Ito yung naisip mong learning outcomes. Parang medyo obvious yata to, may analyze na kagad eh. Analyze the unique strengths and perspectives of various health professionals. Okay, so pwede yan, no? Assess the existing community-based healthcare programs. So sa number 1, parang giveaway yata to. Analyze tayo. For number 2, ano sa tingin ninyo? Assess existing community-based healthcare programs. Ano kaya ang level nito sa Bloom's taxonomy? Assess. Pwede, no? Correct. Magaling. Okay. So, nakukuha na ba? Yung discuss. Ano yung discuss? A framework. Hula-hula lang. Dapat pala nagpa-premyo si Sir Bobot dito. Siya po ang maraming pang-premyo. Okay, so ito ang ating sagot dyan. No? So yung una, giveaway bonus. Number 2, tama si Ma'am Lynn. Okay. And then number 3, it can fall in between understand and apply. So, alam niya, naiintindihan niya, kaya kaya niyang mag-discuss, no, ng framework. At kaya niyang i-apply, no, yung alam niya about interprofessional collaboration. Okay. So I also mentioned to you, di ba, that there is a separate triangle for skills. Ito yung psychomotor domain. Okay, so ito, gusto ko lang pakita na pag meron tayong gustong matutunan na skill ng ating kasamahan, okay, di ba sabihin natin, gayahin mo lang ako, sundan mo lang ako. Yan yung imitate. Okay? Copy, replicate the actions. Okay? So follow, repeat, identify, match, imitate. Sumunod ka lang sa akin. Okay? Kasi minsan, ang pagkakamali natin, bigla na lang natin gumawa ka. Ha? Nagawa ako? Tapos pagbalik, mali, pagagalitan natin. Paano? Wala naman pala siyang sinundan. Okay? So meron tong leveling. Kaya natin to pinapakita para naaayon o appropriate yung expectation natin sa ating mga tinuturuan. Okay? At yung binibigay natin sa kanilang gawain ay, as I mentioned, appropriate sa level ng kanilang competency. So kung hindi niya talaga yun alam, paano naman siya makakagawa nung pinagagawa mo? So kailangan makatikim muna siya ng, ganito, sinusundan mo. Sundan mo ko. Okay. Sunod, manipulate, no? Repeat or reproduce actions, okay, to standard from memory or instructions. So, paano ito? Nandun ka sa tabi niya, okay, tapos gina-guide mo siya, o gawin mo to. Pero hindi ka na nagde-demonstrate. Pwedeng, na yun, hindi ka na parang sinusundan niya. Nagga-guide ka lang sa kanya. First, you do this. O, ginagawa niya. Pangalawa, ganito. Pangatlo, ganito. Okay, so that person is executing it based on your guidance. Now, starting after that, the manipulate, you will now perfect it. No? So, papakita na niya sa'yo without your prompts. Wala na, hindi mo na siya gina-guide. Pinapakita na lang niya sa'yo. Alright? So, hanggang sa natural na na-embody na niya. Yung, di ba, ganun ang mga, mga residente natin. Sa umpisa, gina-guide natin sila. Pagdating ng 3rd year, hindi na sila masyadong matanong. No? They can do it on their own. It's something like, nung una, it's supervised. Everything is supervised. You are watching over them. Later on, konti na lang yung supervision. And then later on, they can independently do it on their own. Okay. So that's Bloom's taxonomy for psychomotor. And so this time, in your conference, you want a workshop. A workshop, di ba, workshop, ito may mga hands-on. Kaya dapat, ipansin nyo, tugma siya. Kasi sa workshop, hindi pwedeng cognitive. Hindi pwedeng puro discuss, puro explain. Hindi siya. Kasi ang workshop really is hands-on. It's creating. It is maybe evaluating, no? Maybe a workshop is applying on upwards. So here in the workshop, you want it to be on writing journal articles. So here, i-demonstrate, no? Demonstrate a write-shop methodology. Okay? So the word is no longer part of the cognitive blooms. Okay? Next is utilize best practices. And then last is formulate. So medyo higher kasi skills na ito eh. Skills na siya. So here you will see these are the categories. The demonstrate would fall under manipulate to perfect. Okay, di ba? Nag-demonstrate siya. Utilize is applying. And then formulate means creating. Okay, sana nakakahabol pa tayo dito. Okay pa ba tayo? Okay pa ba kayo? So pag workshop, okay, hands-on yon. Kaya bihira, no? Bihira tayong maglalagay ng learning outcomes ng remembering, understanding, kasi ang premise, alam na nila yon. Dapat ito, magpapakita na siya. No? Meron na siyang medyo higher order. So it's from applying onwards. Diba? Ano yung after apply? Apply, analyze, evaluate, create. So, ganyan na no, ang ating sinusulat na learning outcomes for workshops. Okay. So, ito naman yung, kanina pinakita ko na ito, pero we will not deal with this. This is for the affective domain. So, tapos na tayo dun sa program objectives. Tapos na tayo dun sa learning outcomes per topic. Okay? Topics that will be covered para makarating tayo dun sa program objective. Ngayon naman, anong dapat content? Ano yung dapat na mga ilagay ko dun sa learning session na iyon? Okay. So, ito na yung dapat tugma-tugma siya. Okay? So, very systematic siya, no? Dapat uunahin nating isulat ay program objective. Pangalawa, learning outcomes. Okay? Pangatlo, yung content. Anong laman nun? Kung yan ang gusto natin na matutunan niya. Okay? So, para rin tong parang kasal, 'di ba? So, gusto mo yung kasal na talagang heavenly. Naalala ko na lang. Kasal na Disney. Alright? Disney theme na kasal. Alright? So, ibig sabihin nun, gusto mo may mga characters na Disney. Correct? O tapos, yan yung outcome na gusto mo eh. May mga characters na Disney, may mga elemento doon. Anong content nun dapat? O dapat, meron akong isang dwarf, meron akong isang Snow White, meron akong isang ganitong castle. Yun na yun, no? Hinahanap mo yung mga elemento na dapat maging coverage or scope in order to achieve the outcome. Alright? So, this can be facts, procedures, concepts, principles. Alright? Yan yung mga usual na laman ng content. So, back to the example that we had, no? The lecture on the challenges of the Philippine healthcare system. Obvious dito ano yung content? Ito na yung mga content. Ang laman yan, dapat discuss mo yung healthcare system, discuss mo yung mga health professions, maybe the challenges of the health professions, and what are the approaches, okay, to the challenges. Okay, so tapos na tayo dun sa content. Punta na tayo dun sa paano ko ngayon to ituturo. Okay, sana nandito pa rin kayo. Nandito pa ba kayo? Kahit na nung emoticon, kung pagod, anong emoticon ang pinili nyo? Okay, okay pa ba? Okay pa ba? Thumbs up, thumbs down, pagod na, mag-break ba? Okay lang. Okay, malapit na actually. Hindi ko lang alam pang ilan na to. Pero, doon na tayo sa teaching learning activity. Meron ka ng objective, may outcome ka na, may content ka na. Paano ko ngayon to i-deliver? Paano ko ngayon to ituturo? Ang sad lang, ang alam lang natin madalas ay lecture. webinar. When in fact, there are other creative ways to deliver different learning and development interventions. Ito are some 15 classroom activities. Importante kasi yung active learning, yung aktibo. Katulad nyo, yung mga kaya ko kayo pinay-emoticon kasi importanteng gising pa kayo, di ba? So, and I sometimes ask you to answer in the chat box because it helps you exercise yung so far yung tinuturo natin. And I am updated whether you are still with me, you are still connected. Because that's a way for me to know whether you're getting it or is this lecture effective, no, somehow, no, in delivering the activity. So ito yung mga example, yung gallery walk. Okay? I mean, I'm just presenting this. Maybe you can read on it so you have longer time to assimilate. But just to introduce to you that there are other ways to teach others. So yung gallery walk, it's like an exhibit, no? You can actually create posters, no, in the room, posters and display them in the room, and then you ask your participants to go and see each poster and tell them, example lang ito ha, tell them what you saw, what they saw, and what insights did they get from that poster. Okay? So, mas magpa-participate sila, no? Lalo na yung mga medyo introvert. Then maybe after the gallery walk, we will gather them and let them, share what they saw. Of course, there can be gamification. There can also be a jigsaw. No? Yung jigsaw is may hawak silang mga puzzle. No? Hindi necessarily puzzle talaga na puzzle, no? But it can be words, something like that. And then you will give prompts how they can put it together. Okay? It can also be case studies. All right, demonstrations, brainstorming, sometimes, di ba, may lakbay-aral tayo, field trips. Minsan hindi naman kailangan lumayo no? Baka field trip lang to to our waste segregation area. Okay, sometimes if you want to talk about or you want to hold a learning session on how to recycle, it is best to bring them to the recycling area than to just teach it through PowerPoint. Bring them to different sites in the hospital, okay, where there are trash, to show them why it is important to do segregation and how bad is the situation in the hospital when it comes to segregating and recycling. So you can really be creative so that when you bring them there, they start thinking, ito pala ang sitwasyon. Pas binuksan yung trash, tama ba ang mga laman yan? Okay? So, anong cognitive skill yon? They're analyzing, tama ba yun? They're evaluating, hala, bakit yan ang laman ng basurahan? Okay? Rather than just present it in a lecture, right? It becomes real world. That is what we want. What we want to teach. How we want to teach people is how they can apply it to real scenario. Okay, so pwede ring project. So ano yung project? Yung gagawa sila ng, eto na, parang yung katulad nito, after nito, siguro, ang project natin, you will craft, no? An instructional design that you think is needed by your office. Okay, so mamaya mag-example pa tayo, pwede magdebate, okay? Madalas yan nung di ba? Eleksyon, pwede tayong magdebate, sketch notes. I will show you some examples. So here, these are just some of the other ways that we can teach. So kung puro information, ideas lang ang gusto natin, bakit hindi na lang tumingin sila online? But if we want them to have a more meaningful learning experience, we can do this by doing and observing. So kaya ko lang pinapakita dito yung maganda gamitin yung experiential learning. Okay. So paano yon? You can use case studies, you can use gaming, simulations, role play, storytelling, Okay? Pwede mo nga silang dalhin doon sa isang situation and let them analyze. Okay? So ito na yung real doing. Let them be immersed, okay, in the situation, in the scenario. Pwede rin silang mag-reflect. Okay? So may reflective dialogue. Alright? So pwede rin silang mag-diary style, journaling, reflective thinking. And then of course, pinoprocess yon. Kasi pagka pinag-reflect mo sila, okay, sa kanila lang yun. Maganda, merong small group discussion or maybe a mentoring session na ipapakita nila kung ano yung reflect nila. Okay? Kasi baka nung nag-reflect sila, naisip nila, ay, ang dami ko palang pagkukulang. O pagkatapos nun, ano na? That's where the mentoring comes in. Okay. Now, here are the other alternatives to lecturing. So, pwedeng self-directed learning. Sabihin natin, tomorrow, from this time to this time, you go look at TikTok, and search this word. Lahat ng lumabas na video dyan, pumili ka ng 3 that best describes something. Sometimes, ay, TikTok daw. Ako nga, hindi ako masyadong nanonood nun. But it can really be motivating, no? And it can also entice someone to learn more. All right? So, pwedeng learning through play, scenario-based, bibigyan mo ng problema, tapos ilalagay niya yung sarili niya doon. Kunyari, given this scenario, and you are the leader, or you are the nurse, or you are the doctor, what would you do? Okay. So again, can be games, could be project-based, and I will show you examples of write around and the others. So ito yung write around, no? May isang papel, there's probably 4 people, all right, or 3 people writing on that piece of paper. You just placed maybe a word, and maybe the word is training. And then the people will write, what do you like about training? O, nagsulat na sila, no? Tapos, they can connect to each other. This is a participatory way of teaching and learning. So, pag nasulat na nila, tapos may times up to eh. Pag times up na, titingnan nila, ay, ito yung output natin, pare-parehas tayo. Oh. Okay? So, everybody participated. Okay? Hindi sila na-intimidate. Okay, and then somebody will probably, explain it. And then maybe you will put it in the wall. And then after putting it in the wall, all the participants will do a gallery walk. Ay, pare-parehas yung ano. So may mga thematic common themes that they will discover. Oy, lahat pala tayo dito, ganito ang intindi natin. Something like that, no? That is the right around. Another would be the 4 corners debate. Ano yung 4 corners debate? You will give maybe a statement. O sabihin natin, tiwala kami na ang Quirino ay maaabot ang gold award. So something like that, no? Tiwala kami. Tapos nakasulat sa bawat corner, merong strongly agree, agree lang, strongly disagree, and disagree. And then they will put their post-it, or pupunta sila diretso dun sa corner na yon. So para tong noontime show. Pupunta ka sa saan ang bet mo, okay? So tapos, bakit mo sinabi diyan ka? Okay, 'di ba? So it becomes more engaging to your participants other than just making it a lecture type. Okay? Ito naman raft, okay? Parang RAF stands for the role, the audience, format, and topic. Ito nga pang grade school lang to eh. So ito ang sabi niya, ano ka? Anong role mo? Ako ay isang grade 4 student. At ang naiisip kong audience ay grade 3. Okay. Tapos, ano ang gusto mong pag-usapan? Gusto kong pag-usapan survival guide. Okay. Anong guide? How to be successful in grade 3. Oh, di ba sila pa lang? Very creative na sila, no? So, yan yung example, no, ng template, creative templates for teaching. Okay, another is the fishbowl strategy. You make them form 2 circles. Merong inner circle and outer circle. Tapos, yung inner circle, okay, pwedeng siya yung magdi-discuss at ang makikinig yung nasa outer circle for one particular topic. And then there can be a flip, no? after the first question, baligtad naman. Yung author naman ang magdi-discuss sa kabila. So, again, another creative way. Next are sketch notes. Ito yung sketch notes, no? Sketch mo lang kung sino ka. Okay, hindi naman kailangan maging magaling sa pag-drawing. Alright, so example lang yan. So, what are the other tips before we move on to the last portion? So, consider, no, engaging activities. Yung proactive yung ating participants. I know it is difficult, especially for online like this. Okay. But in face-to-face, in-person sessions, I think we can come up with better ways to engage our learners. Now, for online, marami ring apps, no? Mentimeter, etc. Yan. Kaya lang, syempre, you will have to consider internet connectivity, gadgets, etc. also. Kaya dapat maganda yung profiling natin and needs analysis. So, what are the some questions to think about when designing your learning activities? So, ano ba yung interest nitong mga participants? What would motivate them to do these activities? Anong kailangan nilang marinig? Ano ba ang kailangan nilang mabasa o makita na maintindihan pa nila yung topic? Paano ko sila mas maeenganyong matuto? Alright? What are relevant real-life examples, analogies, sitwasyon, no, that the learners can explore on the topic that you have chosen? Okay, and what will the learners do to practice and demonstrate the knowledge of the topic? So ito yung napili natin is, after this session, hindi ko naman na-check yun. Hopefully, hopefully magamit natin yung matututunan natin in crafting instructional design. So, again, reminders when teaching adult learners, no, these are the teaching strategies. We try to make it relevant to them. Bakit ito yung strategy? Kasi ito yung mas matututo sila. Makikita nilang practical ito. Then we encourage active participation. Then before telling them engaging the activity, we tell the benefits. Mag-participate kayo because this is the advantages. These are the advantages. Okay, so they can also have some debate. All right. So ito yung mga important features of teaching strategies for adult learners. So that was mentioned also, no, a while ago, task-oriented. Gusto nila yung may goal at merong particular task na dapat magawa. Okay? Okay, so now we move on to the final column. The final column is on assessment. Now, how do we measure the performance? How do natin kadalasan pre-test, post-test? Kasi talagang very convenient yung pre-test and post-test. But honestly, we really wouldn't know if that is something that will be applied, right? Hindi natin alam kung magta-translate yon sa real world. Siyempre, mas matataas, no, yung post-test score. Kasi nakinig ka eh. Kung nakinig ka, hopefully, o nangopya. Okay. But it's really not the best. You have to really align, no, kung ano yung assessment mode na gagamitin mo. Kung puro cognitive ang gusto nating alamin, alright? Yung ating learning outcomes were cognitive ang gusto nating ma-achieve. Kaalaman. Ano ang magandang evaluation doon or assessment? Kung cognitive, knowledge, type nyo po sa chat box, ano sa tingin ninyo ang magandang evaluation method? Okay, so kung ang mga sinulat natin doon is to remember or to identify, to recall, to whatever, yung mga nasa level ng remembering and understanding, ano yung magandang assessment? Try. Nandito siya sa slide. Okay? Nandyan po siya. what assessment tool will we use? Okay? Okay, quiz. Okay, so exam, 'di ba? Kasi masusukat mo eh. Na-recall niya ba? Oo, na-recall niya kasi sa quiz tama sagot niya. Okay? So kung cognitive, kadalasan talaga exam 'yon. But there are, as mentioned, there are alternatives to exams. Okay? So pwedeng project. Kasi hindi niya magagawa yung project kung hindi niya siguro na-recall yung mga konsepto. Pwede 'yon, 'di ba? Kung meron kang pinagawang task, ganun din, pwede rin 'yon. Pero pag kunyari ang inyong learning outcomes would be on skills. Okay, skills, performance of a procedure. Okay, a quiz may not be the best evaluation method. Okay, so example, marunong na ba siya mag-BLS? Okay, marunong na ba siya mag-BLS? A written exam will probably just give partial evaluation. Hindi siya yung true method to evaluate. Kasi the best method is demonstration, a practical exam. Galing naman ng estudyante natin, si Sir Mike. So sana ganun, no? Yun yung gusto nating i-drive na point. That we don't just write objectives and assessments, ganyan. Kailangan nagtutugma sila. Okay? Yun yung sinasabi nating aligned siya. Right. So, ano pa ba yung mga gusto natin? Ito, may mga practical example. Kung kunyari, gusto mong makita kung ready na siya maging supervisor. Kaya, ready na siya ma-promote. Okay. Nandito rin yung sagot dito. Nasa slide na rin eh. We have what we call work-based assessments. Ano yung work-based assessment? I-assess mo yung trabaho niya mismo. Okay? So, kung kunyari, pinagawa ng work and financial plan, maraming mali, baka hindi pa siya ready dun sa posisyon na ina-applyan niya. Kasi doon, siya na yun eh, ang gagawa noon. No? Yan yung work-based assessments. Kung may mga routine tasks that are expected to be done in a particular position, okay, so yan yung ipagawa natin para makita natin kung ready na siya to do it. Okay? Mahirap yung puro exam kasi parang theoretical pa rin siya. Okay? And laging meron din tayong trust issue. Kaya na ba niya talaga? Pasado siya pero bakit ganun? So 'di ba? Minsan hindi ka ganun ka-confident. And that's why the alignment of the assessment and the objectives are critical. Okay? So the types of assessment are meron tinatawag na summative, formative. I will not dwell so much on this one. Pero pag sinabi nating formative, no, kadalasan ito yung ginagawa natin eh, yung overtime, no, ina-assess natin overtime kung may natututunan siya. Hindi siya graded. Okay? Hindi siya gine-gradean. Yung bang araw-araw, pwede natin siyang i-form, formation. Fino-form natin siya. Bibigyan natin siya ng feedback. Sasabihin natin, o dito, ito yung tama. Kaso dito, ito naman yung kulang. Yan yung formative. Okay? Pag sinabi nating summative, alright, ito yung may grade na. Okay? So, kailangan umabot ka dito sa grade na to sa iyong IPCR para ganito. Ang IPCR is summative. Alright? IPCR is summative. Okay. So, siguro hindi ko na to masyadong i-dwell, but I already said that formative is something that is continuing, ongoing, over time, and incremental, meaning nag-i-improve ba? Nag-i-improve ba siya? Okay naman. Okay? Improving performance. So they're both outcomes driven. All right? Yung summative, may dulo to, may end of unit. So ibig sabihin niya, IPCR, yan na yun. So at the end of the semester, ito ang grade niya. Okay? Sinukat ang kanyang performance for the first semester. And it should really be comprehensive, di ba? Dapat nakasulat sa IPCR lahat ng trabaho mo, in a sense, no? It should have captured what are the tasks, no, or the performances expected of you. Okay. So, balik na tayo dun sa instructional design. We discussed about the program objectives. Okay? The overall program objective. What we need to attain or achieve at the end of the session. Today, our program objective is that the participant should be ready to formulate or craft an instructional design. All right? And then we come up with learning outcomes per topic. All right? So, kanina diniscuss ko what is an instructional design, what are the models, how do we craft learning outcomes using the Bloom's taxonomy, what are some tools and strategies for teaching learning activities, and what are assessment and evaluation methods. Those are the topics, and we created outcomes per topic, if you recall. Okay. Now, we move on to what are the methods. Okay. Ito, I just presented different methods, but I encourage you to experiment on active learning and more engaging platforms so that you are ensured that there is really learning taking place. Okay, kasi pag passive yung participant, parang di ba hindi mo alam kung may natutunan sila o wala. And then, last column is the evaluation, and that is used to measure the objective. So again, we said that this should be constructively aligned. So ayan, nakasulat sa gitna, constructive alignment. Because you constructed a design, right? An instructional design. Your learning outcome, ito yung learning outcome ko, puro cognitive ang gusto ko. Ano yung dapat teaching learning activity ko doon? Okay? Para ma-achieve yung outcome na yon. And kung cognitive yon, ano yung magandang assessment? So yan yung sinasabi nating perfect fit yung pagkagawa ng instructional design. So we mentioned also it is repetitive. Sometimes our first attempt, hindi siya yung perfect. We always have to review it, revise it, centered. Tinaya ko na nag-type, no? So, nasa waiting room pala ako nag-type. Bakit ganun? So, sabi natin, your instructional design should be learner-centered. We need to know our learners. Okay? Customized siya, personalized siya. Yung dating design mo, baka hindi na yun maging effective. Kaya siya repetitive process. You need to review it, cannot always reuse it. Okay? So, I think this is my last slide. Okay? But this is basically the cycle that we discussed to you. Okay? We first identify the learning needs of our participants. Kanina, we did that, no? A little bit of profiling. Then, we determine the learning objectives. Then, we design, okay? Okay, the structure, yung content, the sequence even, all right? Then, we develop assessment that is aligned with the objectives. And then, we can create or deploy the learning experience through teaching learning activities, and optional if we need to develop learning materials. Pero usually, di ba, in an LDI, you will need at least some materials. Manila paper, slides, projector, PowerPoint, kasali yon, no? If not develop, maybe procure, secure. All right. And of course, kasali na yung mga evaluation tools. Okay, so All of these are essential in the implementation of a learning and development intervention or program. So, yes, this is my last slide. Parang ang dugo, no? Madugo pala gumawa ng instructional design. A good teacher is like a candle, no? Analogy ito. So, it can consume you. Nakakapagod siya. But in the end, it can be fulfilling because it gives light, okay, to others. It guides others the proper path. Inner drive. Nakikita nila yung pangangailangan nila. Magagamit ko ba to? Para saan ito? Practical ba to? So when we create our instructional design, we think of how the learnings can be translated to real-world scenario. Okay? So, dun po nagtatapos ang ating lecture. May mga tanong po ba? Sana magamit nyo po ito. Hindi po ako magre-require naman na mag-submit kayo. Pero, the challenge is, you attempt to create an instructional design for your colleague. Maybe somebody who is a newbie, yung bago lang sa inyong departamento, at may gusto kayong ituro. Kasi alam ko, some of you here are training designates. Okay? So, ang training designate, hindi lang naman ito compilation of paperworks. So, kayo ay instruments din to learning. Okay? So, maraming salamat. May tanong po ba? May tanong po ba? Tahimik ko. May
Thank you so
question
much,
po ba?
Dr. Patricia. And we are now on the stage of open forum for those who wish to ask questions with regards to LDI, crafting of LD design.
Kayo mahiya. So, siguro maikling ano lang nga. Ano yung unang-una nating i-formulate pag gumawa ng instructional design? Ano yun? Yung number 1 is the PO. Ano yun? Purchase order. Tama yan, no? After the program objectives, ang next na susunod ay LO naman. LO. Maraming O to eh, no? PO, learning outcomes. Tama po. Tama. Learning outcomes per topic, no? And actually, those topics are actually the same as your content. Somehow the same as your content. Okay, so program objectives, learning outcomes, then your content, right? And then, alam mo na kung ano ituturo mo. Ang next na question is, paano ko to ituturo? So, you call that teaching learning activities. Alam mo na yung ituturo mo eh. No? at alam mo na kung ano yung endpoint or target mo, paano mo ngayon to ituturo? So that's your teaching, learning activity. So, meron ka ng medyo na bubuo mo na yung design mo. Ang pinakahuli, ano yung pinakahuli? Actually, important yun eh, the assessment. No? The assessment or evaluation. Alamin natin kung naging epektibo para malaman natin kung na-achieve natin yung objective natin. Okay? So, kung hindi kasi tayo nag-set ng objective sa start, ibig sabihin, wala kang tinarget na objective, wala kang susukatin eh. Tama ba? Kung hindi mo sinet yun, anong susukatin mo? Ba't ka magsusukat kung wala ka naman palang tinarget? Kaya importante na meron kang tinarget sa umpisa. Okay? At yung tinarget mo dapat masusukat. Kaya dapat SMART siya. Very specific, measurable, kailangan po ng tutorial pa, karagdagang kaalaman, maaari namang pumunta sa Petro. Tutulungan din po namin kayong gumawa ng instructional design. So, huwag niyo pong kalimutan, if you search in Google Bloom's taxonomy, the verbs that are suggested there, you can use in crafting your learning outcomes. So, sa learning outcomes, you may choose Bloom's taxonomy. All right? And yung Bloom's taxonomy na pinakita natin, meron yan for cognitive, yung knowledge, skills, and attitude. Okay, siguro yun. Yung malalim pang yun, another session na lang siguro for the others because I know some of you, it's your first time to listen to this topic. Okay, so maraming salamat. Kung wala ng tanong, si Sir Bobot na bahala sa inyo.
Sorry, Dr. may kausap lang. Anyway, recording for those who answer the pre-test to please do answer the post-test for you to avail your certificate, and this will be included in your one relevant training, and the same time, no, huwag kalimutan po yung post training report for those who fail to answer the pre-test naman po. Right, so thank you so much, Doctora, and to the 180 plus attendees for this activity po. Thank you, Doctora. Thank you all sa lahat ng
Thank
kawani
you.
I hope marami tayong natutunan kay Doctora, and wala po ito lahat kung hindi natin mapapractice mag-craft ng decent LD design and proposal po. Maraming salamat and good afternoon po sa lahat. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you all.
Thank you.